What is going on, Nuggets Nation NBA fans? Welcome back to another episode of Nuggets Today. I'm Tom Leuthner, and we are on day one of our 2-day break before this Game 7, this second Game 7 of the playoffs for the Denver Nuggets. And I'm going to hop into a few topics we got here. We'll have some more topics tomorrow, but the first topic I want to hop into today is, come on, man. Come on. It's not even a bad thing that I'm saying it. We can't catch a break. So I'm looking over the schedule, and fine, we have a 2-day break. Today we're off, tomorrow we're off, and then we have to play a midday game tomorrow. Why can't we get a night slot? I feel like we're the only team that's not getting night slots, man. And it's tough. We had the 36-hour turnaround earlier this series. We're the only team in the playoffs right now to play 2 Game 7s. And if you go back and look at the history of the Nuggets since 2019, we played the most NBA Game 7s in the playoffs. And we can't catch a break because we can't close out games. I know it's our fault technically, but I think there's some factors that go into that. I think scheduling could have been a little bit better. Both teams are playing tough. You know, we go into overtime with them. We're going down to the wire just about every game except for one. Even last night went down to the wire, and it didn't look like in the box score, but it did if you were watching the game. And even after that, we can't get 2 full days of rest and then play a night game. We got to play a midday game. I know it's a weekend. It's tough. And I know the scheduling, you're competing with the NHL playoffs, you're competing with the Subway Series coming up, so it's harder, but we can't catch a break. Not only with scheduling, but with everything. I think that there were some things in this past game, Game 6, that were questionable. Some foul calls, I think it's been the entire series. We're playing physical, they're playing physical, and we can't get 2 full days, we're getting 2 full days of rest when we could be getting closer to 3, especially with the injuries that we have and everything, and that's something I'm going to get into in a little while. But again, we can't catch a break. I know even some of the calls yesterday, I think were atrocious. The flopping's insane. Julian Strawther lost a tooth. You're watching the game and he said it's a fake tooth, but he got elbowed in the face and lost a tooth. Jamal's got the flu. And again, there's some things that we can't control that are out of our control that still, it doesn't work for us sometimes, man. It just doesn't go in our favor. But we're going to move on to the next topic. And I'm going to come back to this first topic after this next topic. And this next topic is keep the momentum going. We continue to almost fall short every single game. We turn the ball over late in the game. We haven't been able to keep that spark going. In games 5 and 6, or 4 and 5 rather, we blew 8+ point leads with 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter and ended up losing the game. Last game, we were up 16 and they cut it back down. And they took the lead. We finally went on a run. We did what I said we needed to do, and that's go on a run late to end the half. They come back, they hit a 3. And even when we're up almost 20 points in the fourth quarter, and with 2.5 minutes, we're blowing the game. You have to keep the momentum from the end of the game going. I think seeing Strawther go off the bench was amazing for the Nuggets, strictly because we gained so much momentum as a fan base, and the players gained so much momentum watching a guy come off their bench and dominate when that's all we've needed this entire series. Not only did Denver gain momentum from that happening, but it almost looked like the chemistry was higher. It almost looked like everybody was happy regardless of their minutes. That's what Denver needed. They needed a spark plug, to give them the momentum, and that's what they did. They've had Russ. He's done his thing in some games. He's brought the energy in some games, but he hasn't been able to score the way they need him to score. Julian Strawther coming in gives Denver the opportunity to fully pick apart OKC's defense, because they knew the game plan for Denver. They knew the game plan was let Russ shoot, MPJ struggling, let MPJ shoot, guard Jamal, guard Jokic, let Christian Brown shoot. AG's gonna have his hit or miss games. You can let him take his fadeaway threes, but we're gonna play him sort of tight. But the whole thing was let everybody shoot. Julian Strawther came in and goes, nope, can't let me shoot. I'm gonna let it fly. I'm gonna hit my shots. Christian Brown woke up and said, I'm gonna hit my shots, and it ended up working. And you need to carry that momentum into this next game in order for us to win. There's no stopping the pure grit and pure heart that this Nuggets team has shown throughout this series. They should be nowhere close to this game, and we all know that. And I'm going to continue to say that. This is a 68 win team, and everybody, the whole stigma around Jokic that he couldn't beat 60 plus win teams or 55 plus win teams. Well, he's doing it, and he's doing it well. Again, his worst games are some superstars' best games. You hear he shot 33%. Okay, and when they needed him, he woke up. He was allowed to have his bad games. Again, I think that Strawther should have been the guy to come in, and it might have been 4-2 in Denver's favor. It could have been 4-1 in Denver's favor if Strawther got those earlier minutes and was able to take over. But we're finally seeing what we need to see out of everybody, and that momentum has to go into this next Game 7 in order for Denver to prove everybody wrong, because there's no full fan base right now that's looking at Denver going, they got this, they've had this since the first game. No, even Shaq last night, if you're watching Shaq, or you're watching TNT, Shaq goes off and says OKC needs to win this game. Chuck, he rebuttals, says no, Denver needs to win it. Shaq was right. You don't want to see Denver in Game 7. They have the most Game 7 appearances since 2019. They have the most experience. You don't want to see that team. This is a young OKC team. They needed to win this last game. Not that I'm overly confident, because again, it could go either way. I wasn't confident in this series at all, but you don't want to see Denver. They seem hungry. And that's the next topic I'm going to hop into here, is one more. Not just one more game, right? One more Game 7. One more player I think should be playing next game. And one more injury that we have to talk about a little here. The one more Game 7, like I was just saying, this is another Game 7. This is Jokic and Murray's. I think I couldn't tell you the number off the top of my head, but this core four has been going to Game 7s since they were together. They don't, and again, people say that they want to push them. No, they don't. We just run out of gas because our bench is weak, and it was constantly weak except for our championship run. Sure, we had guys like Will Barton in the past. Sure, they had guys like Monte Morris in the past, and those guys were good, but Strawther's proven to be better than everybody except for that championship bench right now, and it's great to see it because that's what they needed. The one more player I want to talk about is somebody that I've talked about before. I think that, again, the non-center minutes off the bench don't work as well as we need them to, and, the Nuggets got a little lucky yesterday because their big men were in trouble, so they were able to play a smaller lineup because the OKC Thunder were playing a smaller lineup. I think it's time to get Zeke Naji 5 to 7 minutes a game. Might not work. It might not work. And what we've seen hasn't been working. What worked yesterday was a change in the lineup, and that's what we need to see again. I think you come out, Jokic needs his break. If Watson isn't playing well, which there's times Watson doesn't, then it is time to give Zeke Naji 5 to 7 minutes. Let him go in, let him get some experience, because we don't know what's happening. We don't know what's happening in this next game. We don't know how they're game planning. He can stretch the floor a little bit. He could shoot. And this is where, I'm looking at the bench yesterday and I'm realizing there's some hope for next year regardless of what happens, because Deron Holmes hasn't played this year. He's supposed to be the stretch five off the bench for Jokic. But why not at least give Naji a little bit of time? We've seen his minutes. They played those minutes when we were getting blown out, and he looked okay. He turned the ball over, fouled a little bit, but you're gonna be rusty. The one thing that got me nervous with Strawther yesterday is that I didn't know if he was confident to take shots because we didn't see him. And he, in my mind, as somebody who's played basketball, somebody who's coached basketball, you start to you think that you don't know if the coach is going to take you out if you take a bad shot, and you start to overthink your shots. And at times we saw him sort of hesitate to shoot in the beginning of the first half of his minutes. He finally took one shot, took another. I think he missed the second shot. And you sort of saw him hesitate, pump fake the next shot. Just let it fly now. But now why not let Naji sort of ease into that role? Because if we do push Western Conference Finals, I would like to see Naji playing again. The other topic here is the one more injury. Aaron Gordon hurt his hamstring yesterday, and he looked pretty bad, and he said he's going to continue. He's going to start to nurse it after yesterday's game. And we can't really afford for Aaron Gordon to not be able to jump and run, because he's our athletic power forward that's a little small but is able to do everything. So it makes me a little nervous because, sure, we could start Watson if Gordon can't play, but Watson doesn't give us the same offensive minutes that Gordon does. And that's what I was talking about with MPJ, that we could afford to lose a little bit of size there because Aaron Gordon, makes up for that size if MPJ is not playing. So it makes me a little nervous because that might be one of the biggest concerns for us. If Aaron Gordon's hurt, can't play, or isn't playing well, then you have to move on to a big, which is going to be Watson, and we all know that. Or you're going to try to run a small lineup, which you can't really afford to do because they got Chet and Hartenstein, and then we get out-rebounded if Jokic isn't grabbing the boards. Sure, Watson gives you those hustle rebounds. Russ gives you those hustle rebounds. Christian Brown gives you those hustle rebounds. MPJ looked okay trying to grab boards yesterday, which was good. But if MPJ's struggling and Aaron Gordon's struggling because they're both hurt, then we sort of get little limited minutes off the bench from the guys who can actually play the floor offensively, not just defensively, because Watson's a good defender. That's what he's there for. But that makes me a little nervous, especially because Aaron Gordon has been our spark. But another player that's been our spark, and this is the last topic, is a guy by the name of Nikola Jokic. Nikola Jokic, this is his moment to prove that he belongs. And when I say that, I don't mean belongs and, oh, he's a great player. I mean, this is his moment to prove that he belongs in the conversation for maybe one of the greatest players to ever play the game, not just centers. This guy is playing without an all-NBA player, an all-defensive player, an all-star on his team, and he is going to a Game 7 with a team that was supposed to wipe the floor with everybody in the playoffs and go to the finals. A young team who have fresh legs, have a legitimate 10-man rotation where they could run 12 guys if they need to, and he is pushing another Game 7. He played 2 Hall of Famers in Kawhi Leonard and James Harden last round, an amazing center in Ivica Zubac, and now he's playing a team where one of the biggest differences on this entire team is the backup minutes of Jalen Williams. Not Jalen, the starter, Jalen, the backup center, who's playing fantastic minutes on Jokic defensively. He is proving that he is, again, his down games are some of the superstar in the NBA's best games. And those are games that people are criticizing him for. He's putting up 20, 10, and 3 where he had potential 10 assists and his teammates couldn't hit shots. And people are saying he's bad because he missed some shots. That's going to happen. How many games you could go back and look? A guy by the name of Jalen Brunson will have games where he misses 10 shots. And, well, he's still amazing. He's still great. But if Jokic does it, he gets criticized. This is a win that will put him, in my opinion, and maybe I'm a little biased, in the top 10 player of all time category. He is playing a 68-win team and took them to Game 7 in a round where he played bad. He had 3 of the worst game stretches he's ever had in a playoff run, and he's still continuing to dominate. He came out, he did what we needed him to do the last 2 games, and you gotta hope that he's not, a little hurt, a little tired, and can't get it done, because he is truly that good of a player when he is healthy. Here's a stat that I want to talk about. Yesterday, Jokic reached 2,500 postseason points. His 92nd career playoff game, that is. Played 92 playoff games, 2,500 career points. He currently sits at 697 assists. No player in NBA history has ever reached 2,500 points and 700 assists in fewer than 100 playoff games. Nikola Jokic is 3 assists away from making this happen. So let's make it happen. Let's get it done. Let's go to Western Conference Finals. Prove that you're that good. And that is all I got for you guys today, Denver Nuggets Nation. Hopefully I'm this hyped tomorrow. Hopefully I'm this hyped Sunday. And we are going to another Western Conference Finals. You got to hope, you got to be happy, and you got to be excited, man. That's all I got for you guys today. I'll catch you guys later. Have a good one.